Yo guys, how you doing? FIFA 22 is in 2 more days, and 2 more days until an absolute clusterfuck is going to happen over Twitter, over FIFA, over YouTube, over Twitch, over everywhere, okay? There's going to be an absolute madness of everyone going mad on the web app, on the 10-hour early access, and people get really confused, people get really caught up in the mess of it all, and they kind of just get a bit like, there's so much going on, and they kind of freeze, and I don't know what to do here, don't know if I should save my money, don't know if I should sell this player, don't know if I should do this SBC, and people get really confused about what is the best for them and their club, and what to do with their coins. So today's video is really about the best ways to save your money, to make more money, to invest towards the future, and little tiny things you could do to gain some easy money, some easy coins for your club in day 1, day 5, day 7 of FIFA 22. So if you guys do enjoy, smash the like button and also subscribe if you're new. And let's get stuck in, lads, because this is going to be an interesting one. Hi there, so I support Burnley, which is obvious because why else would I possibly own a Burnley jacket? For any club, for any league, for any nation, anywhere in the world, you can keep up to date with any news that's happening with your football club. The link is at the top of the description for you to have any transfer news or any news happening at your football club or any updates for any game. If you want breaking transfer news on iOS or Android on your mobile phone, then OneFootball is there for you. Top link of the description. You can go and download it for absolutely free. You will not regret having it. Thank you OneFootball for sponsoring this video. Yo lads, so the 22nd of September is when the web app and the EA Play 10-hour early access trial will be released, and while you guys can really play FIFA 22, that's the start of it. That's when you guys get your account, you open your main packs, and you can go and invest in players, sniper players, and do all that good stuff. And I feel like there's this weird couple hours when you open up your packs, you pack this player which you're thinking, should I sell him now? Should I not sell him now? Should I keep him? Let's say that you pack a pretty good player which is like, you know, quite high rated but not that meta. Let's say that you pack a David De Gea and you're like, should I sell him? Should I not sell him? He's not that meta, but he's a goalkeeper, and like people get really confused and they're like, I don't know what to do here, and everyone always feels like they're doing the wrong thing in every single situation here. And we've gone through this a lot of times for many years. I've been playing FIFA since FIFA 11, FIFA 12, and I've been playing it very intensely since FIFA 15, 14, so I've seen this a lot, you've seen it a lot, and you learn things over time, but people always seem to like forget things. They're like, from what happened the previous year that you know what works, you kind of just forget about it. So this video is to really update people of what happened last year and the year before that, and what really works for most people. So, number 1 here, you get the web app. Okay, now this is very, very easy, very obvious. Just open packs, SBCs on web app. I'm not even going to make this a serious point. It's just obvious. Only go and play 10 hours if you want to play the actual game itself, play the gameplay, and that's really it. Unless if you're confident that you want to go do the 10-hour early access glitch and all that good stuff. But if you're not that bothered, then do that instead. Just do your SBCs, do packs, do investing on the web app. Pretty easy. So let's get into the part that you guys are actually interested of, alright? So let's say you open up your main packs, your starter goal packs, whatever you get, you pack certain players, and I'm going to give you guys each scenario of who to sell, who not to sell. But let's just go through some samples here. So for example, let's say that you go and pack yourself a Pereiro. Very possible. He's one of the like most common walkout cards there is. He always has been. And of course, well, actually, he's got a rating of a +1 compared to last year. Okay, him, like a Sergio Busquets, like a Verratti, for example. Those kind of low-paced cards that you get day 1. A Chiellini, a player that you know is nicely rated, will be worth a lovely bit of coins because it's day 1, and will be worth like 10k, 9k, 12k, 8k because they've got the high ratings that will be needed for SBCs. And things with Pereiro is that if you get anyone that you know just won't be meta in any way, then just sell them, okay? For example, let's look at Pereiro last year at the first couple of weeks of game here, and you can see that it was worth 5k on day 1. Now, of course, he went up here for this weekend league and then goes straight back down. These kind of players, yes, they may go up by a K or 2, but with that same money, you can go and collect together and put it on much more valuable players to invest in. The first couple of days are so important, and kind of saving your money and kind of holding out on a Pereiro or Busquets or Verratti. Yes, they may go up in price, but it's not by anywhere that's enough to really make it worthwhile. Take someone like an Adama Traore, for example, right? It'd be the exact same thing this year, and he's a great player that will be perfect to try and invest in the first day or two, and will rise and rise up for the next week or two by a lot. Let's have a look here on PlayStation. So it was worth 15k max, because that was his, I believe that was his maximum by now. And then as soon as he released that, he went up to about 26k, 27k, 29k. And then once the next week league hits, more people can get better players to then get the next row of meta players. So instead of an Adama, they instead got a Marcus Rashford, for example. So these kind of players that you know will be good for the first weekend league, like the first weekend league is going to go up by a ton. And this is that same rise you see here. And then everyone sees him like, oh, I need to get him. And then comes the next weekend league, people get rewards, people get better players. He rolls up again, but then it goes down. Next weekend league gets bought up, then goes down, and then he just goes down to his normal price. So if you could see which kind of level of meta are certain players, so like this baby meta, which is like Rodrigo, for example, he was used a lot last year. He's nowhere near as good as he was last year, but he'd be still alright. If you look at his card last year, it did this. So again, it was worth like 18k on PS, and then boomed up to a maximum of 37k. So he's in fact doubled in his price, and that's why I say just sell your players like Pereiro and Verratti that may go up by a K or two, but will be wasting your time when you see something like Rodrigo. They could buy a bunch for 18k, 17k, and then will rise up and up by the first and second weekend league. And then when people can get their rewards on this day, then they're all going to sell him and get the next version of meta players. What I'm saying is that if you get these kind of players which you know will be meta for the first week of game, BPL is money, but also just French players from Serie A, La Liga, players that you know will be very meta for the first week of the game, first 2 weeks, but then may drop off because they're not that good. Keep them because they will go up, and especially the ones that, let's say like a prime example, Marcus Rashford, he will be usable way into the rest of the game. If you look at what he did last year, it's quite incredible because he was worth a lot of money, and then the further that people can afford him, he just rose more and more in price until people can then afford the next version of the meta. So he's rising from 140, 150 up to 290k. So again, he's pretty much doubled in price, and then when people in November can afford the Mbappes, can afford the Neymars, can afford the Ronaldos, then it goes down. So there's different levels, and then you'll see the next batch where people can afford the Neymars. So then see what he did last year. You can see that he basically maintained his price until more and more people were able to buy him. And as you can see, he stayed an insane price for about 1 million coins until the same time that Rashford started going down. Rashford was going down in like late November, and then that's when you see Neymar going just below 1 million. So basically, every single player that you know won't be a main meta player, sell them all, because you can use that money from them into much more viable things. Someone like Renato Sanchez is going to be that type of meta, that kind of baby meta that a lot of people will want in their team for the first week or two, and then will slowly drop down when they can get better players. But he is very, very good, so I imagine he'd be good for about 3-4 weeks until about November, like Rashford. Next up here, it's day 1, day 2, and I would suggest to do as many of these foundation SBCs as possible. If you can get a nice chunk of coins, about 40, 50k, I would highly suggest to do the hybrid leagues, hybrid nations as fast as possible. It's been confirmed that these are in next year, and they are also giving tradable packs as well. Do these as fast as you can. And I'd also really say to do other SBC accounts, so have a second account, a third account, and send money over there and do these packs, because this is so easy to get a bunch of players in your club that a lot will sell, and it's just easy money because these are great value always. It's like 10k for a 35k pack. And the next part goes along with the advanced SBCs, and that try to snipe players that basically use a filter that you can get a bunch of players under that one filter, which is basically up in price to what they usually should be. So for example, silvers are very easy to do. So like English silvers, Brazilian silvers, French silvers are the most common ones really. And then look for, so for example, like Argentine players, Argentine defenders, and you can look up Brazilian gold defenders, and it's usually like a mark of like, I don't know, like a K and a half, 2k, that you can just snipe a bunch of gold players from a certain filter, and there's like 6 or 10 players that you could possibly get that will be selling for like min price, and they actually sell for like $1.50 because they are needed for these SBCs. Brazilians, Argentine are usually the best. All leagues. So for the hybrid leagues, there's always like a Bundesliga team or La Liga or Serie A. Those are the most common because they have a lot of nations inside those leagues. Defenders, like left backs and right backs, are usually the best, I find, or right mids or left mids. There's usually a lower quantity of right mids and left mids. One more thing is that typically don't buy like your main team instantly. Like buy just a starter team. Use players from Liga Nosh. Use, nice little players that's worth like a couple of K. Don't go and buy Rashfords and these massive players instantly, because really, this is basically a rule of thumb to sell your team always on like a Friday and then to buy them on a Monday, because this is what happens. People want to go and make the team for weekend league, for the first weekend league especially. People get their rewards from rivals and all that good stuff on a Thursday. Therefore, you got a massive influx of coins in their club, and then they'll have a bunch of coins to go buy players. Therefore players will be gone from the market, and the supply won't be able to match the amount of demand. So therefore, they'll rise up in price, and that is the best time to go and sell your players on a Friday, on a Saturday morning, because that is when most people are buying their teams for weekend league. And then if you want to sell them, that's why if you want to sell a player, sell them always on a Friday, because that is usually when the price in that week is the max, and then they'll drop down like a Saturday evening, Sunday, because that is when people are done with weekend league, or maybe even rage selling their team. And then that is why on a Monday, when people are done with weekend league, they go sell the teams, or rage sell the teams, or also squad battle rewards as well. That is when there's a lot more supply in the market, and then that's when they're typically the lowest. That's when you go buy your team. You can work your way around this, then this will save you tens and thousands of coins just by doing this simple thing of buying your team on a Monday or Tuesday and selling them on a Friday or Saturday. Because how many times have you bought a player for your weekend league, and next thing you know is that once you're done with them and you sell them, you've lost like 5, 10, 15k, even more than that sometimes. Depends on who you buy, because that's just what happens during weekend league. Next up is to do with team of the week 1 informs. Now this is a prediction of what Footbin will be team of the week. So we got someone like a Haaland in here. We got a Lautaro Martinez. We got a Neres, Vinicius. Now these informs are very special, right? You can make so much money off these informs because it is team week 1. There's not many supply of packs compared to most normal weeks, because you got battles and rivals and foot champions and all these SBCs that everyone can pack. You don't have that in the first week when these cards are out. That's why after this team of the week is done, these cards become very, very rare. And there's some players here that I can see that will be worth so much money once they get out of packs. For example, Islamar Sarr, if he got a inform, once he's out of packs, he will triple in price within a week or two, because he's a Premier League player with high pace, with a nice card all around, and people will want them in their team for the first 2 weeks of FIFA. Because you can't get any more of him, there's no supply, he's not in packs, and him, a Neres, a Vinicius will be the main ones. And this isn't guaranteed, but this is what will likely happen. That's some players here you will see. Here is team of the week 1 for FIFA 21. And you can see some players here that kind of matches the same kind of basis of what I'm saying here. Lozano, inform Lozano is one good example. So is also Upamecano. Friday, that's when web apps out. He's only in packs for about 5 days. You go from 100k to when he's out of packs 142. And now there's the other packs for that same weekend, it goes up to 180. And then guess what? New weekend league happens here. Boom, boom. About 300,000 coins almost. So he's in fact tripled in price from when he was first dropped, because people want him for the teams. But guess what? He will instantly rise up. Another example is Lozano's worth like 60k, 70k. Out of packs goes up to about 100k. Just like that, goes up by 20k, and then just drop down a little bit more, but then kind of maintains and goes up to 100k. Again, spike here, Friday, spike there, Friday, spike there, Thursday, and then drops down for when people sell the teams on the Monday. If you invest in these players, even if it's not like a good one, you will guarantee yourself an easy 10, 15, 20k profit each one, because you simply can't get them anymore, and when they were out, there was such a low supply of them. Next up, and I think this is the last one, but you get 4,600 FP if you pre-order the game, and I think most people will have these field points, and this is massive because you could do a preview pack every day with the FP there, that once you get something good, great, spend your FP that you got for free on that, and you got it for free. That is another good way. If you're a good player and you are confident you can win FUT drafts, then spend those points on FUT drafts. And then you got constant packs coming in through, and you can go and repeat it over and over and over again. And I believe there's some new packs out for FUT draft. I know that there was a lot that I talked about in this video, but basically, you pack players. If they're not meta, sell them. Those cards that you get will be much more viable for team and week 1 informs to go and snipe players and turn them over for current cards that's needed for the SBCs, like advanced SBCs for example, and then to invest into the baby to medium sized meta. So like the Rashfords that will go up in price week by week by week because people will need them and can afford them. The tips are for your own team. It's your own choice on what you want to do. Once you got enough money, you can make a team of all these players that will be going up in price each week, like the Rashfords, like the Renato Sanchez's that will be going up each week, and use that as an investment, but know to sell it when the time comes. Lads, I wish you all the best of luck for FIFA 22. I'll see you all then, and I'll be doing videos day by day of brand new things that I can update you guys with. So thank you for watching. My name is Vizeh. I'll see you next time.